Other interesting business news, you have the California Fast Food Union wanting yet another minimum wage law increase, perhaps because they can't earn it with merit. Now, this is coming after California lost about 10,000 jobs from the ineptitudes of California's Governor Gavin Newsom, who passed a minimum wage law of $20 per hour just to flip burgers. So 10,000 people lost their jobs, and businesses are jacking up prices. And this is how you cause inflation, or hyperinflation. Can't but wonder, all these ineptitudes and all these mistakes from government officials, is it malice, or is it stupidity? Or is it a little bit of both? This comes to us thanks to Richard, who is a writer over at the New York Post. They say, quote, California fast food workers demand yet another minimum wage increase just 4 months after the $4 raise. Of course they do. So they say fast food workers in California are asking for yet another minimum wage increase just after they bumped it up from $16 an hour to $20 an hour. The California Fast Food Workers Union, a branch of Service Employees International Union, they released a new list of demands at the first ever meeting at the state's Fast Food Council. Oh, you can see all of them. Yeah, of course. Now they say, quote, the union is asking for that wages for workers be raised to $20.70 per hour by January 1, 2025 to, quote, keep up with the cost of living, unquote, which you yourself helped cause by jacking up the food prices and jacking up all the prices in general. Yeah. They also cause for increased job stability. Fair payment for owed back pay, stable hours for workers, and thorough investigation into what they call the widespread pervasive abuses in the fast food industry. They want a stable schedule. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And I've worked many jobs, including front end entry level positions. Having a stable schedule, it's such a fickle thing at that part of your career. Just by the nature of the industry, I'm not even sure that's possible. There's so many people who flake out. There's so many things about the store. I don't know about that. They say that they have allegations of wage theft, harassment, discrimination. They also say, quote, as California's fast food industry grows, cooks and cashiers are doubling down on their fight across the state to win safe and healthy stores, stable hours, pay that keeps up with inflation that you caused, and training to understand their rights on the job, unquote. There, of course, you can see them pretending to do work by boycotting. Or, this is, I don't know, I guess they aren't striking yet, maybe. A little Marxism imagery, of course. They say, quote, Gavin Newsom for the Council of 11 members, September 2023, to destroy businesses. Well, I made up the second part. But they say to establish wages and regulations for the fast food industry. In short period, fast food workers in California have slashed 10,000 jobs as the franchise owners struggle to survive. Several major chains, including McDonald's, Burger King, and even low-cost favorite In-N-Out Burger, jacked up their prices to offset the higher wages. Yeah, what's a nice way of putting this? Yeah, the people out there holding on to the signs are quite large. It's probably the large and not in charge. Yeah, yeah. A lot of people are saying when labor costs jump up more than 25% overnight, any restaurant, and it's just coming from a restaurant owner, any restaurant business with already thin margins will be forced to reduce expenses somewhere. They don't have a lot of options beyond increasing prices, reducing hours of operation, or scaling back the size of their workforce. Now, of course, these comments are quite entertaining. There you can see in human form, Gavin. Baking Cookies, appropriate name, says, quote, hyperinflation is only possible because of the rules of exponential growth. It starts with small increase in cost of living. Next, the government implements a forced increase in worker salaries. If businesses pass their costs on consumers, the consumers is paying for it. And 68 likes. Here. TBD Cobra says, I remember back in the 70s, fast food workers were mostly teenagers, except for the owner-manager. People that needed to support themselves and their family went to college or trade school. No one ever planned on making a career of being a cashier at Burger King. Gavin Newsom, ooh, that's a new one, I like that, has guaranteed that the Big Mac will cost $15. Automation is now on the fast track to replace more workers. This is what happens when you have politicians who never had a job in the private sector. Correct, getting 125 likes. Which, yeah, that is another rudimentary argument. Someone will always say, you can't afford to feed a family of 4 flipping burgers at McDonald's. Yes, you're not supposed to. The point of an entry-level job is to start your career, and it's supposed to be the starting point. And you're supposed to be as an individual. You're supposed to be, I know this is a word that's lost on many Americans, unfortunately, these days. You're supposed to be responsible and do not have children until you can appropriately support a wife and a child in your family. The U.S. government has the antithesis with incentivizing irresponsibility, unfortunately. Some of the top comments comes from Get a Rope says, we're dealing with low-skilled, undereducated workers who have overvalued sense of worth. They are unable to understand the demands and the endless cycle that fuels inflation. Getting 181 likes. Truth. Scrolling down, let's see if there's any contrarian statements here. Proud AM says, I live in California and the grocery stores are doing really well. A lot of people stop eating fast food due to the price increases. Some people get sticker shock and never return. Some places are going well, like In-N-Out and Chipotle, but others are not doing so good, getting 28 likes. Ernest Lemingway says, I love the bit about job security. Jobs are only stable when the company you work for is making money. All fast food franchises are losing money because the brands are unwilling to cut prices and make less in this down economy, resulting in plummeting sales. Someone responded saying, no one is in business to break even. True. And 21 likes. Again, one of the issues with the kind of the default of the industry of fast food is, I mean, the rule of thumb is usually very low margins, but very high quantity, big volume, very similar to the Walmart business model. The reason why McDonald's makes any money, well, also real estate, but you just make a little bit of profit, but you sell a bunch of them. And that's how you used to have low-cost fast food. And yeah, this is yet another reason more businesses are going to struggle, and prices are just going to go even more insane and get increased more in California. I don't know if they'll ever learn their lesson. I really hope they do, because again, a lot of people don't realize a majority of fast food restaurant locations are owned by individual franchisees and businesses that specialize in owning and operating franchise locations. They're not actually owned by the parent company more often than not. And a lot of them are just literally mom and pops trying to make the American dream, owning a franchise, building it up over time, and making a profit. And there are some, I mean, especially if you're a small business, I mean, you're working 60, 70, 100 hours a week to keep that dream alive. And it is soul crushing to see the government continuing to break the American dream and destroy it. And a lot of Americans who are not understanding the whole situation where, I mean, you just can't afford to pay these people more and more and more, especially when it's rudimentary labor. And there's nothing wrong with an entry-level job. I respect anyone who has a job. You just got to work like hell in America and you will be successful the overwhelming majority of the time. And another issue is this is also going to decrease jobs and steal the opportunities from folks. They're removing the bottom rungs of the ladder to climb the corporate ladder. And I do hope more and more people in California start to wake up and vote differently. But it's been this way for so long, I'm not sure how much hope there is. So some sad business news to end this segment of the show, but I'd be really fascinated. Do you know anyone in California who's buying fast food? Do anyone who know? I would be especially fascinated if you know someone who owns an individual operator or individual franchisor. They're trying to keep that going. Let me know in the comments, because as always, I'd be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in. Again, try to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you could click that button and tell your friends, I greatly appreciate it. Also, leaving a thumbs up, a thumbs down, or comment is a great way to give me some direct feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.